All right, welcome CIMA E2 students. In this explainer, we're building the essential toolkit for managing what is, let's be honest, the most critical and often the toughest asset in any organization, its relationships.
So let's kick things off with a really important question, one that every single aspiring finance leader needs to be able to answer. And you know what? The answer usually isn't about technical skill at all. It's about the human connections that really drive performance. And that's exactly what our lead outcome is all about, managing relationships. Okay, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to build your managerial toolkit piece by piece, starting with those bedrock principles and then moving all the way to real-world application. All right, let's dive straight in with our first section. We're going to start with the 4 foundational pillars you absolutely need to manage any organizational relationship effectively. These 4 elements are the absolute cornerstone of any high-performing team. I mean, think about it. Building trust. That's the bedrock, right? Without it, everything else just crumbles. Then you've got collaboration techniques, which is how you turn a group of individuals into a real synergistic team. Stakeholder alignment is all about making sure everyone, from your own team to your suppliers, is pulling in the same direction. And wrapping it all up is ethical leadership, the non-negotiable glue that holds everything together and keeps it sustainable. Okay, so that naturally leads us to the next piece of the puzzle, the engine that drives all of these relationships, communication. We're going to look at the whole shebang, from the basic mechanics right through to the digital tools we're all using every single day. You really have to think of communication like a journey. An idea starts with the sender and has to make it all the way to the receiver and back again. But a breakdown can happen at any of these stages, often because of what we call noise. And that could be anything that interferes with the message, leading to misunderstanding and, frankly, serious demotivation. And this is where we get to something absolutely crucial: congruence. As a manager, your words and your body language have to tell the same story. Picture this. You say, "I'm really open to your ideas," but you're leaning back with your arms crossed. That nonverbal signal screams the opposite, and it instantly destroys any trust you were trying to build. So, even if you think you've got the process down pat, what can still go wrong? Well, a lot, actually. Let's take a look at the barriers that can pop up. So, as a manager, it's your job, no, it's your responsibility to spot these barriers and tear them down. A classic example? A finance manager using heavy accounting jargon in a presentation to the marketing team. It's a guaranteed way to make sure your message completely misses the mark. You know, every single tool we use today, it's a double-edged sword. There are always trade-offs. Choosing the right channel for the right message is such a critical management skill. I mean, think about it. Firing off an email with complex, sensitive feedback, that's a classic mistake. That kind of conversation almost always demands the nuance you only get from a video call, or, even better, a face-to-face meeting. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about a place where relationships are made or broken every single day: meetings. Look, a great meeting isn't just a chat. It's a structured process designed to get a specific result. And it doesn't matter if it's in person or virtual. If you skip any one of these steps, you're basically signing up for wasted time and a whole lot of frustration. All right, now we're getting into the advanced stuff. We're going to equip you with the tools you need to navigate those really complex situations where, well, not everyone wants the same thing. Negotiation. This is bread and butter for any finance pro. You're doing it all the time, whether you're discussing budgets with department heads or hammering out contract details with an external supplier. Okay, and this is a really, really important distinction for your exam, so listen up. A win-win is not the same thing as a compromise. Compromise is about splitting the pie that's already there. A true win-win, a collaborative approach, is about working together to make the whole pie bigger, creating more value for everyone. That's the secret to strong, long-term relationships. You know, a lot of managers see conflict and they just run for the hills. But the best ones, they see it as a signal, an indicator that something important needs to be addressed. It's just an unavoidable part of working with people. So, let's be super clear here. Your goal as a manager is not to eliminate all conflict. Your job is to stamp out that dysfunctional personal stuff while actually encouraging functional conflict, the kind that challenges ideas, sparks creativity, and ultimately leads to way better solutions. And these are your practical get-out-of-jail-free cards for the exam. For instance, imagine the finance and marketing teams are at each other's throats over budget. A great move is to set a superordinate goal, like launching a joint campaign to boost market share by 10%. Suddenly, they have to work together. It completely changes the dynamic.
Okay, we've spent all this time building up our toolkit. Now for the big question. How is CIMA actually going to test you on this?
Now, pay close attention to this because this slide is pure gold for your exam prep. It shows you how these ideas are tested. CIMA isn't just going to ask you to define negotiation. No way. They're going to drop you into a realistic business problem, and your job is to pull the right tool from your kit, apply it, and, this is the most important part, justify why it's the absolute best choice for that specific situation.
And that's our deep dive into managing organizational relationships. I want you to remember this. Mastering these skills is what truly separates a good accountant from a great business leader. Now go sharpen those tools and good luck with your studies.